guys, welcome back to Let's Code, and today we are going to cover the model box. So for the box model, we are actually going to open our folder. Even I'm going to show you how to open it. Here I click the open, and now you can see we are here on our desktop, and inside desktop this is the folder we were working on. So let's open it. Yeah, it's take some time, but you can see I have already created a box model.html inside the learning CSS folder. So this is our file, and now create this icon and press enter. We have our auto generated structure for the HTML, and I'm going to rename it as box model. So now after declaring this, I'm going to show you something before we start the official lecture. Here is the presentation I promised to show you in the last lecture about the box model. So what is box model? Box model is something that consists of the margin, borders, padding and content. I can show you it in a diagram. So here is our diagram. So content is something that is inside a div. Padding is something that we ask it for the outer space to have the space included inside this container. And then there is a border, and outside the border you takes the margins. I can show you it in the coding, but right now let's focus on the slides I prepared for you. So here is the border box. You can see what is the box sizing. It's something we use in the universal CSS just to remove extra spaces. As you can see, force the box to take the width inside the total width of a box by applying the force of the content part. We use it mostly in the universal CSS because there is a default margin and padding inside the HTML. I can show you how. Here you can see I created a div named div1, and I press enter. Here I'm going to define the style for this. So dot div1 having a width of, even I'm passing it the 100, and I'm passing it a background color, not image color. So the color will be something crimson, and then there is a height of 200 pixels. So let's open our file, or you can say folder. Here is our folder, inside it the CSS learning, and then this is the box model file. I'm double clicking it to open. You can see that there is a default space from left, right and even from the bottom, but unfortunately we are not having its bottom part because of the height. But what I can do, I can pass it the 100%. So yeah, sorry for that. 100 VH is virtual height or the visible height. Here you can see now it's also having a small space from the bottom, from the left, from the right and from the top. So this is something it's asking for a border box. So let's add the box sizing in it. Box sizing, even not here, we will include it in the body. So inside the body I will show you why we add that. Box sizing, border box. Let's come back to our, you can see nothing happens because of this property can't work alone. So therefore we are adding the 0 and padding 0, and here even removing it. And now I am adding a static because most of the properties in the HTML already have padding, margin before even declaring or showing it in the CSS. It has a default, so therefore I asked the style sheet to make every elements padding, margin and the box sizing for the set for the 0, so it do not have a default spacing. Now I'm going to refresh it, and you can see it covered the missing area, and even now we don't have the scroll because there is the no margin. As here you guys have seen the outer margin, that was the margin it was showing us. So let's begin our coding. This is a good color. If you want we can change it, but I like it for now. So that is the box model. we will not be limited to the box model. We will see the parts like margin, padding and border in detail now. So let's have a look to the margin. How can you define the margin? Margin 20 pixel, it's for all sides. I can show you how. Let's come here. Inside this I'm going to define a inner div, inner one, naming inner one. So yeah, sorry, it's dot inner one. And now just I'm going to copy this, paste it here, and yeah, here is our div, but I'm not going to assign it that huge size. I will make it 20 pixels and 20 pixels, and I'm going to change its color. Yeah, I changed its color. Now come back to our browser, refresh. You can see a box here. Now I will show you what is the margin and padding. First I'm going to apply a padding. Yeah, so here padding, and padding would be of 20 pixels. Yeah, it's enough. Now I'm going to refresh the page. Nothing happens, but what if I apply the margin? Now let's see. Not margin top, only margin. Come here. You have seen that it has taken a space from top and from bottom. Why this one is taking a space? Because this is also having a width and height of, yeah, so inner element affects the element that is out of it sometimes, so therefore it's taking a default margin. We can even stop it like declaring the height 100%. So now refresh, and you can see we are still having the margin problem, and it will be defined that it will be removed in the flexbox model. I will show you it in the next lecture, but this lecture is regarding to the margin and padding, so be with me. I will show you what it means. Now I'm showing you the padding. So the padding will be 20 pixels, 40 pixels. I'm going to refresh it, and this is what the padding do. Padding actually affects the inner element. So now the spacing is removed, default spacing, and this is how you can handle this problem with the padding. So that's the first thing we covered, but now I will show you how can you define the margin for specific areas. Like here is the top and left to right, because the first one works on the top to bottom, and the second part works on the left to right. I will show you how. Here was our, sorry, let's go back here. So this code here we are defining a margin for the all sides. So I will mention it as not like that, like, yeah, like, not like that, sorry, yeah, yeah. So this is our comment, and now here I'm going to type all sides. Now I will show you something, that how can you bring it in the center. So the first part will work on the top to bottom. So I will declare 20, not 20, even 30 pixels from top to bottom, and then there is something called auto. I will show you what auto can do. I'm going to refresh it, and now it's in center, because here I declared it auto, and auto means that take the complete margin automatically from left and right. So it is positioning itself center, and you can see it's responsive. It's decreasing its margin and increasing its margin according to the screen width. So that's something even I can, if I remove auto and define 60px, now you can see what is going to happen. Here is it, and now it's not responsive. It's taking the 60 pixels from here, but it's not responsive. So I'm going to keep it auto. And even now I can show you something that is more interesting than this. That is, how can you declare the margins for the three sides. Like you want a different margin for the top, for the bottom, and you want the same margin for the left and right. So now here I'm asking it for the bottom 50 pixels. Let's come back and refresh. So you can see there is an increase of the margin from this side, and that is visible because this side width is small as compared to this side. I can even show you it by increasing it to 90, and now I'm going to refresh it. You have seen and you have noticed an increase here, so that is because of this margin for the bottom. And even you can declare for different margins for both for the four parts of the, even the four edges I can call them. So I will share this presentation with you for more understanding it. So that's something I just created for you guys. And now it's the border. So there are the 8 types of the borders, like solid, dashed, groove, dotted, inner, outer. Now here I am going to declare another div, copy, paste, inner 2, and what I am going to do on the inner 2, I will copy this part, press enter, paste it here, and now I'm going to change its color to this, and inner 2, not 3, 2. Yeah, let's come back here, refresh, and here we are having our second box. So now what we are going to do, we are actually going to give it a border. So let's come here and define a border, but first I will show you the border radius. What is the border radius? It actually create a radius, or you can say cut out the corners of the div or the box we declared. So here I'm going to pass it the border radius of 20 px, so it will cut out all the four parts from 20 pixels. You can see now it's rounded, and even if you want to make it circular, what you can do, you can go for the 50%, and I'm going to refresh it. Now it's a circle, perfect circle, but I don't want it like that. I am only going to pass it the 30. And here something important I want to tell you, that this border radius also works like this. I can show you how. Here you can see I declare 0. So this is for the top left and bottom right, and this is for the left bottom and the right top right. Yeah, let's refresh. You can see the two, it's the starting corner and the ending corner is taking 30 pixels radius, but there is the no radius for these two parts. Even what I can do, I can make it like this, so there will be the no radius for this part and this part, but there will be the same radius for these parts. How? Let's come back and refresh. You can see no change. Now I can increase it and you will see the change here. So this is how it works, but I don't want that much. And even you can declare the four areas here. Like now what it will do, it will actually work on this part, not this part, this part actually. So I'm going to refresh it, and yeah, it worked. So here you can see it's working on all, and I'm going to make it 20 pixels. Yeah, so I refreshed it. So this is how you can work with the border radius. Now come to our topic about the borders. So a border actually is something where you can provide the border universally, or you can say a shorthand method of the border. And here I'm going to show how it works. Now I'm going here and refreshing it. You have seen a thin line of the black color on it. What if I increase it? Black is actually a color by default. If you want to change it, you just come here and type blue or the any color you want. Let's refresh. Now our border color is changed. And now what we are going to do, we are actually going, this is actually the border type, border style. So how you can change the border style, I will show you. Here is the border, yeah, border style. So this is the border style, and I'm going to make it dashed. Let's experiment. So here is the dashed border. Now I'm going to declare another thing, that is dotted. You can see the dots here. Even I'm going to increase the border radius size so it will be more visible to us. Now you can see the circular dots more visible. Even double. how double works, I will show you. It works like that, and then there is something called incent. You can see it having a 3D effect on the borders. I just zoomed in to show you it more clearly. Then outset is also the 3D. Then there is something like groove, and it's also, but it is actually creating edges on the border. You can see it's making it a 3D. It's a game ground. You can consider it as a game ground as well. Now it gives you a look of the game ground. And now the last one, which is called the rigid. So you can see this is how the rigid looks. You can find all the 4 types here, as we have covered just I showed you. And here is the individual thing, like here I declare the border style, but I can also declare border, what you call it, border color, and make it something called brown velvet. Now the color is changed, and now even I go for the border width. Yeah, so border width, and I can make it not 7, even 90 pixels, just to show you that how much a border can get. Haha, it's now a game. You can see how crazy or good looking it is in 3D. And yeah, that's it for the borders. And now the next thing we are going to cover is the padding. Padding also works similar, but it actually takes the space from inner side. So I can show you here. I declare the padding of 70. Now I'm going to define some padding here. Padding is actually sometimes hated by the height and width, but it's something that is very good actually. I can show you if it works. Otherwise, yeah, it worked. You can see it actually increased the size of the div by taking the 300 pixels from each side. It actually forces the container to move further from 3 sides, so from the 4 sides, sorry, not the 3 sides. And here, what if I declare 0? Let's refresh it. You can see its size is decreasing because this one is working top to bottom and left to right is 0, so therefore it's not taking a space from the left to right. And here, what if I declare it to 0? I'm just experimenting it to show you. And here you can see it has taken a space from, not from the top but from the bottom actually. So this is how it works. You can even declare the 4 values like this, and even for each one of these, what you can do, you can go for the margin left, margin right, anything you want. Any parts you want to take the margin, you can use the margins. And same goes with the padding. You can see these are the properties for the margin left, bottom, right. You can choose any of them. And then the last part for this lecture is the tables. I'm just going inside my tables file, that is tables.html, and I'm copying this first table. It's the simplest table, so therefore I just copied it. I'm just coming back to my model, box model, and here I'm going to paste it. Now just come here and refresh. Yeah, it is just because of the color issues, but I can do one thing for you guys. I can just copy it, remove it from here, and then paste it inside this, and then refresh it, and you can see still nothing is visible. But we can do that by tab, not here, sorry. Yeah, I'm just going inside this one, tables. Yeah, so the color should be black. Come here, refresh, and still there is nothing, and it is, I think, because of this. So I'm going to comment this. Come here, refresh, and now you can see we are having a table, but its color is still not visible. So therefore I'm going to define its color. Background color should be black, just to view it. Yeah, so here is it. Sorry, it was having an issue with the borders and everything, therefore it was not very visible. Now I'm going to refresh it, and here is our table. And now here what you can do with it, actually the border is spacing. I can show you the last thing that is remains in the borders, that is border spacing. And I'm going to create it 90 pixels, and I'm going to refresh it. Now you can see how much border it has taken. And if you want to learn more on the padding, margin and the borders, you can use the tables are the great thing, because here you can also see what happens if I go for the padding, and I will define it as 80 pixels. Yeah, you can see my table size has increased. And even you can use the tr and define a padding, like I am removing this padding from here and I'm pasting it here and refreshing it. So you can see our padding has increased for the trs. It's not visible because of our mistake, that is the th, because we want it inside this, and this is th and the below ones are the td. So I'm using comma and then td. So we are selecting both trs and tds, and now you can see the padding, a huge padding inside it. And this is how you can learn the paddings and the border radius in more depth. For this lecture, thank you so much for being with me, and I will share this documentation and this presentation with you in the video description. And also the code for this lecture you can find in the video description, the link for the github code for this video lecture. And be there with me for the next lecture, that is about something called, yeah, that is something called backgrounds. So we can see how can we add, remove the backgrounds, and how can we use multiple backgrounds inside one container or the div. So thanks for being with me, and be with me for the next lecture. Thank you so much.